Welcome to Instablogs Global Report. This is Sukhmani with fresh updates and citizen voices from all over the world. Stories for the day are: the United States promises support to war-ravaged Georgia. Iran emerges as the topmost player in Islamic finance. Is secularism in France actually thinly veiled racism? And Communist Party of Nepal Maoist considering reduction in the size of the Nepalese army. Demonstrating its support to war-ravaged Georgia, Washington has decided to lend both moral and economic support to the country. The assistance will help Georgia exert its sovereign rights in face of Russian aggression. CJ Prince Campbell reports from the United States on Instablogs.
This is Prince Campbell, citizen journalist from the United States. The recent visit by U.S. President Dick Cheney to Georgia and his condemnation of illegitimate unilateral attempt by Russia to change the country's borders by force will certainly help Georgia exert its sovereign rights. Both the visit and promised aid would provide moral and economic support for Georgia to sustain itself when it's being forced to accept Russian conditions on the status of the separatist regions and to relinquish its aspirations to join NATO, reverse democratization, and giving up the development of oil and gas pipeline routes that bypass Russia. Besides, the disputed region is no ordinary piece of land. The war was never really about territory or ideology. It was really about the influence by Russia over a vital energy corridor, increasingly important for the West from the energy security point of view. Who can forget the Russian-Ukraine crash over the gas prices 3 years back that led to the disruption of gas supplies in Europe in the midst of one of its harshest winters? Gaining control over gas distribution appears to be a major objective with the Kremlin in Georgia. The tendency needs to be checked by the international community.
Iran has emerged as the topmost country for Islamic finance. There has been a sharp rise in the number of assets being managed according to the Islamic law called the Sharia. CJ Rodman Arabi has more on the success of Islamic finance from Iran.
This is Rodman Arabi, citizen journalist, reporting from Iran. Iran has emerged as the topmost country for implementation of Islamic finance, measured by the quantity of Sharia-compliant assets. It is closely followed by Saudi Arabia and Malaysia. Islamic finance rests on the application of Islamic law, or Sharia, whose primary source are the Quran and sayings of Prophet Muhammad. Sharia emphasizes justice and partnership. The law lays ban on usury, although terms such as charging of interest and speculation are open to interpretation. Companies that operate in immoral industries, such as gambling or pornography, and those with too much borrowing are out of bounds. The judgment of what is and what is not allowed under Sharia is made by boards of scholars, many of whom act as a kind of a spiritual rating agency, working closely with lawyers and bankers to create instruments and structure transactions that meet the needs of the market without offending the requirements of their faith. There is no ultimate authority for Sharia compliance. However, countries such as Malaysia and Bahrain have instituted bodies for the same.
France's secular system has been criticized by various organizations for meting out unequal treatment to its minorities. Many have accused the system of being racist. CJ Michael reports on thinly veiled racism being practiced in France.
This is Michael, citizen journalist from France. France's secular system, called laïcité, came into being after the French Revolution and is supposed to separate church and state. It holds that being equal in French comes before cultural origins and differences. Its implications, however, are far wider. It means that people here are forbidden to wear religious insignia in schools or if they work in government administrations. This state of affairs has led to several condemnations by human rights organizations and the European Commission when it comes to the right to free religious expression. But the most insidious effect of the system is that it covers up racism. This is a direct result of the equal citizenship theory. Positive aid and discrimination are forbidden to minorities of any kind. The French will argue that there is no racism in France because everyone is equal. This is a lie. 99% of elected politicians here are of white indigenous French origin, and the same applies to white-collar and management sections of industry, education, the military, diplomacy, and the state apparatus in general.
The Maoist-led government in Nepal has decided to reduce the size of the country's army. The pronouncement has evoked strong criticism from the Nepali Congress, Nepali army and the people of the country. CJ Mukunda reports on the controversial decision from Nepal on Instablogs.
This is Mukunda, citizen journalist reporting from Nepal. Speculation is rife in Nepal over Maoist-led government's designs to integrate the militias into the Nepal army. Many believe that integration of Maoist armed men within the Nepalese army will threaten the entire security machinery. Nepalese army is the last line of defense against Maoist moves to turn Nepal into a hardline communist republic. It is feared that country's army could collapse through heavily infiltration of politically indoctrinated Maoist militia. Besides, the army itself is opposed to the amalgamation of politically indoctrinated Maoist militias. When the Maoists have neither dismantled their paramilitary structures nor have they discharged 4,000 plus combatants disqualified by the UNMIN. Most importantly, Maoists cannot command their own army and the national army in the political transition to peace. Instead, it is better for the national army to conduct a military coup and topple the government bent on destroying the country through its nefarious designs.
If you want your voice to be heard by millions, let Instablogs be your choice. You can contact us at cj@instablogs.com. That's all for today's show. We'll be back with fresh updates and more citizen voices. Till then, it's goodbye from the entire team of Global Report.